My name is Preston Whiteway. I'm the Executive Director of the Eugene O'Neill Theater Center, and here to talk to you a little bit about the connections between the O'Neill and Russia, and Russian playwriting specifically. The O'Neill is a bastion of new play development in the United States and the world, and one of the many ways we are connected with Russia, since about 1979 or so, the O'Neill has been bringing over Russian playwrights to develop work alongside the American playwrights here as part of the National Playwrights Conference each July at the O'Neill. These playwrights are developed, literally this is the first time a playwright hears their work aloud and up on its feet with professional actors and professional directors, and the O'Neill pioneered the idea of play development and workshopped stage readings, and has been able to bring that process to a number of countries around the world, including Russia. In the 80s, in the late 70s, early 80s, our founder George C. White pioneered these collaborations. They had never been done before with American theaters, and for a time there, when during the Carter administration, we were the only cultural link. The O'Neill was the only cultural link between the United States and Russia, when there was some mishigas between the two countries. I'm pleased to say these ties have strengthened and built since that time at the O'Neill. The O'Neill also operates a semester program at the Moscow Art Theater School at Mahat in Moscow, and we send about 30 undergraduates, 30 American undergraduates from schools across the country for a semester-long program there. So it's another great way from an educational standpoint that American students are able to interact and study at one of the most prestigious theater education places in the world. So that's just recently we have begun bringing over Russian playwrights once more, and this summer we have a very talented young playwright named Yaroslava Polonovich from Yekaterinburg, and who is developing her play Natasha's Dream here at the O'Neill this summer, and hopefully has already written another new play while here, which I look forward to having done both in Russia and the United States. So it's an exciting time for Russian-American collaboration here at the O'Neill.
Can you talk just a little bit about George White's role in the Russia thing?
Of course, George White, our founder, George C. White, he, I think, was brought to the O'Neill, brought to Russia. I think he can tell this story much better than I, but he was brought to Russia a little bit under duress. Wasn't quite, not really wanting to be there, and but from almost that first moment, started falling in love with the culture and the incredibly rich theater tradition that Russia offers and Russian culture offers, and it tied in very nicely with the O'Neill's work. Obviously, O'Neill as a playwright, Eugene O'Neill as a playwright, who we are our namesake, is one of the most incredible American writers ever to have written for the stage, and is a well-respected figure in Russia theater as well. So there was a tie there. So since initiating those ties, George would bring over a playwright, or sometimes a play would come here, sometimes a whole cast would come here and develop a work in Russian alongside the American actors working in the same play but in English. We've done it in a number of different iterations. George also helped set up the Shelikova Institute over in Russia as a similar institution to develop new work in Russia year-round, which continues as a legacy, and has introduced stage readings as a means to develop plays in Russia since that time.